Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into something pretty interesting, a roadmap that says it can bring you holistic peace by mixing clinical psychology with scripture. This kind of hybrid approach is popping up more and more in the wellness world. So let's break down what it promises, how it works, and how they're selling it.
So, the entire course is really built around this one single question. And it's a powerful one, isn't it? It gets right to that feeling of being stuck. Like you have all this knowledge, you know all the right things, but you just don't have the tools to actually apply it. Right away, this frames the whole thing not as more information, but as the bridge you need to get to real change.
And that brings us to the core promise, this holistic peace 12-week roadmap. That word roadmap is so important here. It's not just a collection of ideas. It's promising a clear, guided journey with a very specific destination. The whole point isn't just to give you insights. It's to give you a step-by-step system for finding that lasting peace.
But here's the smart part. Before they even try to sell you on the solution, they spend a lot of time focusing on the problem. This is such a classic strategy, right? Don't just offer the cure. First, make sure your audience really feels the pain point that you're about to solve. And what is that problem? They're calling it information overload. They're making the case that you can watch endless videos, read all the books, and feel super inspired for a moment, but it never lasts. And why does it fade? Because, they argue, you don't have a system to actually do anything with what you've learned.
This slide just captures their whole argument perfectly. See, they're not trying to sell you another dose of inspiration. They're selling you the system that turns that temporary feeling into something real and structured. This is their main pitch. Stop just collecting information and start using a framework that actually leads to change.
So, how are they going to solve this? Well, with the roadmap. This is presented as the thing that's been missing all along, a structured 12-week journey. It has a clear beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's all designed to create a very specific transformation.
And these right here, these are the emotional promises that really sell the whole thing. Notice they're not just selling you video lessons or workbooks, they're selling you an outcome. Getting from confusion to clarity, from anxiety to peace, and from just performing to having a real purpose. These are big, powerful ideas, and they're at the very heart of the marketing. So this whole journey is broken down into 4 clear parts, each one lasting 3 weeks. It starts with figuring things out in the foundations phase. Then it moves into practical stuff with relational healing. After that, it tackles your internal thoughts in mind renewal. And finally, the goal is to create a whole new, sustainable way of living in that lasting peace phase. You can see how each one is designed to build on the one before it. Okay, now let's get to the core methodology, because this is where that whole biblical psychology idea really comes to life. And they're actually very open about how they're pulling from 2 very different fields to create their unique framework.
So, the whole framework is built by pairing up these established clinical concepts with biblical ideas. For example, they take something like the biopsychosocial model. That's a way of looking at how our biology, psychology, and social life all connect. They also bring in attachment theory, which is all about our relationships and bonding patterns, and even cognitive behavioral therapy. You probably know it as CBT, which is a technique for changing negative thoughts. Then they anchor each of these tools in a related scriptural context. So you're getting established psychological practices, but with a theological foundation. All right, let's get down to the final piece of the puzzle, the offer. We're going to deconstruct not just what they're selling, but how they're selling it, because they're using a few classic marketing strategies here. So what do you actually get? Well, the package has a lot of the standard stuff you'd expect from a digital course. Video lessons, workbooks, a community forum. But look at that bonus, a live Q&A session. And it's only for the first 50 people who sign up. That right there introduces a little bit of scarcity, and it's designed to get potential buyers to make a decision and act fast. First, they establish a full value price of $497. This move is called price anchoring. By showing you this higher number first, it sets a baseline in your mind for what the product is supposedly worth. And then, right after that anchor, they reveal the actual launch price, $197. Now, compared to that almost $500 value they just showed you, this price feels like a really big discount, doesn't it? It makes it seem like a deal you just can't miss. And finally, they add urgency to the mix. The special price is only available for 7 days. This creates a closing window of opportunity, and it really motivates anyone who's sitting on the fence to make a decision now instead of later.
You've got scarcity, value, and urgency. It's a classic marketing trio.
So what we've really looked at here is a powerful combination, right? You have a deeply felt problem, a very structured solution that blends psychology and theology, and it's all wrapped up in a classic marketing funnel built on value, scarcity, and urgency. This whole thing is really a blueprint for a growing trend of these hybrid wellness models. And it leaves us with a pretty interesting question to think about. As more and more fields like these continue to merge, what kind of new paths to well-being are we going to see emerge next?